So we'll take your thoughts and comments now on President Bush's news conference. The number's on the screen, 202-585-3885 if you're a Republican. Democrat callers, 202-585-3886. And independents are invited to call at 202-585-3887. The president began at about 10:34 this morning. He spoke for about 45 minutes, discussing the economy, education, the condition of the nation's bridges, the Iraq War, closing the prison at Guantanamo Bay, taxes, and several other issues. We'll take your phone calls now. Our first call is a Republican caller from Arlington, Virginia.
Good morning to you. I only caught the tail end of this news conference, and what I caught was what he was saying about the issue of the war in Iraq. And it surprises me that we have to, that the president has to tell us the same thing over and over again when it's so basic and so clear. The mission in Iraq was over quickly, and then the second mission, of course, is that we are fighting against terrorists. And you've got the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, saying that there is absolutely no connection between Iraq and the war on terror, and it's astonishing to hear somebody third in line in ascension to the presidency talking like that. I mean, who are we killing over there? We're killing terrorists. We're not killing Iraqis, or at least that's not our goal. I mean, in war, there are going to be casualties that you don't want to see, including civilians in the country in which the war is being conducted. But in the theater of operations, I'll lastly say, in the theater of operations in Iraq, the entire theater of operations, we have lost fewer, and this is where we freed 25 million people from bloodlust, smack dab in the middle, the cradle of civilization. State-sponsored rape, torture, death daily. So in that entire theater of operations, we have lost fewer soldiers than we have lost in single battles in many of the wars we've been in. People need to keep a proper perspective here. Yes, we can and must win.
On to Sandusky, Ohio, Democrat caller.
Yes, how you doing today? My name is Lonnie Shumate. I just don't understand why the president can stand up there and say anything he wants and it's okay. The intelligence report has said that Al-Qaeda was never in Iraq before we went in. Now there's only about 1,500 Al-Qaeda members in Iraq, and Iran is not the main problem. They're not the one. They might be funding a small group of people, but they said Saudi Arabia is funding the majority of people that are endangering our troops. But the president never talks about that. I wonder why. He's always walking hand in hand with the Saudi Arabian prince, and he has a real nice relationship with them. Also, I'd like to add that we're fighting them over there so they don't come over here. I don't believe that. I believe we're fighting them over there so we can establish bases and take over control over their oil. He says that they want them to pass 4 provisions, and one of the provisions is that they give up like 75% of their oil to American companies. That doesn't seem like a provision I would want to pass if I lived in Iraq. I don't think President Bush cares about anything except his and his friend's portfolio. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the call. Looking at pictures of President Bush from the news conference that just wrapped up just a couple of minutes ago. As we continue taking your calls, Columbia, South Carolina, on a Republican's line.
Good morning. It's Bob. Excuse me. What we're fighting over there, we call it Al-Qaeda, we call it Taliban. What it really is a group of radical people who are strictly following Muhammad. Muhammad slaughtered millions of people, captured all of the Middle East, went all the way across Europe to the English Channel in the 6th and 7th century, and that's what brought about the Crusades. What we're actually fighting is not a war on terror. it would be better understandable and not as misleading as war on terror if what we called it was, quite honestly, a holy war. We're fighting a religion just like the Crusades did in the 12th, 13th century, and that's the way we should talk about it, not war on terror. Thank you.
Thank you. On to High Ridge, Missouri. Democrat caller on the President's News Conference.
Yes, my name's Ella, and I'm just flabbergasted with President Bush. He definitely went for Saddam Hussein and then got very greedy. He needs to step down. There's no one that believes in him anymore. He has totally doesn't answer questions to where people can understand. There are people on disability, homeless, in this Missouri state. He could care less about. Get rid of President Bush. He's going to end up killing us.
The president did dismiss today raising the federal gasoline tax to repair the nation's bridges in Missouri and the bridge in Missouri, at least until Congress changes the way it spends highway money. As we continue taking your calls on the President's News Conference, Albany, New York, our first independent caller.
Hi, I just want to say that I'm very, very behind President Bush. I think what's going on with all those crazy Islamic radicalists, terrorists, suicidal mother is not right. They started this holy war with 9/11, and we intend on finishing it. I don't care if we're talking about health care, education, or whatever. The bottom line is, they started this. Let's rally behind. Like when Tony Blair gave his speech, the old prime minister, and also what? When we had that same speech by Rudy Giuliani, one of the best Republicans in town, all they want to say is, let's bring it back to 9/11. Let's rally that call. Let's remember where we were, and let's go and fight these guys, whether they're in Pakistan, whatever. It does not matter. It's the Middle East. That's the theater. That's the theater. I don't care what kind of shirts they're wearing, red shirts, this color, white shirts. Listen, point these guys out, all these people over there. Point them out. Tell us who the evil ones are, and let's get rid of them. If they're doing something wrong with a VLID or an IED, whatever, if they got AK-47s or whatever, they're wrong. They're pushing wrong information onto their children. If they want to tell their children to put suicidal belts on and blow themselves up, why don't we take all those children that are in all these countries, Afghanistan to blah, 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 around the world, and get them networked and get the new generation on board. So the older generation that's been has-been is all interested in money and personal wealth, which I'm not, or personal gain, or political power, which I'm not. I'm interested in one thing, the right thing. The right side is upstairs. It's the United States.
Next to